If sugar is so bad, then why is fruit healthy? We've all been told that fruit sugar is fine, it's okay, it's natural. And God said in Genesis 1:29, "Behold, I have given you every seed-bearing fruit on the face of the earth for food." And this morning, while I was sipping my cup of coffee, I heard my brother share this verse and he asked me a question on it. So I wanted to make a video about this. Because here's the truth. The fruit that God gave us in Genesis is not the same fruit that we eat today. Genesis was written 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, some people estimate. And modern fruit has been hijacked. It's been pumped with extra sugar. They strip it of fiber so that you feel more addicted and you get a higher lift from eating it. And they've turned modern fruit into a diabetes time bomb. Things like apple, banana, pineapple, some of your favorite fruits. They've turned it into these sugary bombs. And what's worse is they've even turned it into sugary drinks like fruit juices, where they've convinced you that it's healthy, but in reality, they've just stripped it of all of its fiber and they've boiled it and pastured it and they've boiled out all of the nutrients that you're looking for. So fructose, this natural sugar in fruit, it used to come wrapped in fiber, vitamins, and slow digesting nutrients. But now it's isolated, concentrated, and dumped into everything from healthy juices to all natural snacks. So I've drawn a bit of a graph here that you can see where I used grapes as an example because I spoke to a diabetic and he was a truck driver and he shared with me that he breaks his fast with grapes. And this left a pit in my stomach. I just felt sorry for the guy because a lot of diabetics are making all of these changes and they're taking all of this action without knowing what they're doing. And it creates this situation where the blind are leading the blind. And I saw this in my friend's father. I saw this in my mother. I saw this in my great grandfather, my grandfather's dad who had type 2 diabetes. And I saw this in myself when I had prediabetes. And I want to just condense it all and break it down for you so that it makes sense. And I'm going to show you some of the biblical fruits that are not going to cause cravings, that are not going to spike your insulin, and that are going to make you healthy so that you can beat diabetes and win your health back. And that you can live without questioning the foods that you're eating, because the biblical fruits have been unchanged for thousands of years, whereas modern fruits are getting changed and genetically modified and lab tested every 6 months. So let's break this down. There's a few things to consider. Number 1 is fiber content. Number 2 is genetic modification. And number 3 is fruit age. Is it a biblical fruit or is it a modern fruit? So let's take a look at grapes. What we know is that grapes have been genetically modified for size, for flavor, and for reducing pests. They've also been genetically modified to be created to not have seeds. And what's interesting is up here in Genesis 1:29, it says seed-bearing fruit. And a lot of the genetic modification is to remove the seeds to make it easier to eat, which is very funny. So let's take grapes. So if you eat a grape, your body's going to break it down into fructose, which is fruit sugar. But fructose is very different to glucose. And what's going to happen is that your liver is going to process fructose and try to convert it to glucose and energy. But the problem is that fructose, without fiber, which is what they do here, they strip these things of fiber, can put your liver under stress. And when your liver is under stress, it will create two things. Number 1 is it's going to lift your cortisol and lift your cholesterol, so stress hormone and cholesterol, which is going to affect your heart. It's going to affect your inflammation. You're going to feel tense in your body. And it's also going to spike your blood sugar. The other thing that fructose will do to your liver is increase insulin resistance, which means that insulin is less effective in your body, meaning that you need more insulin and more medication to simply use sugar for fuel. So if we take a look at this little graph that I've drawn over here, where it's blood sugar levels on the y-axis and time in hours on the x-axis, and we show red as a modern food and blue as a biblical food, what you'll see is that a modern food will give you a much higher spike in the beginning. And this is where you get that kick, you get the dopamine, you get that feeling of satisfaction of, wow, this strawberry is so sweet, it's so juicy, it's so tasty, I want to have another one. That's what the spike will do. Whereas biblical foods, you're not going to get that spike. So it will feel less satisfying in the short term, but because of the fiber and because the digestion is slower, you're going to feel more satisfied in the long term. Whereas with modern foods, you're going to get that sharp spike in the beginning, but then as time passes, you're actually going to drop below baseline, meaning that you're going to get this feeling of a crash, of I don't have energy, I'm craving more, I'm feeling fatigued, I've got brain fog, and all I want to do is have some more strawberries so that I can get back to where I was. So it creates this comparison game of I feel amazing, now I feel awful, I want to go back to feeling amazing. So it operates similar to how drugs operate. And that's how you know that these foods are from the enemy, because they leave you in this circuit that becomes a circus. Whereas biblical foods, you're not going to drop below baseline because fiber slows down the digestion of sugar. And this slowing down leads to a long-term win. Whereas this speeding up leads to a quick gain, but a long-term loss. So now I want to actually move on. Now that you understand the science of this and how it all works, let's uncover. So here's the good news. Real, untainted, God-made fruit still exists. And if you're diabetic, these 5 fruits can actually lower your blood sugar, they can crush cravings, and reverse insulin resistance. Before we get into the biblical foods, I want to share 5 foods that you're probably eating right now that are destroying your results, they're destroying your progress, okay? So number 1 is apple. Apples are genetically modified to pack 20 grams of sugar, which is about 5 teaspoons of sugar, and they're also decreasing the fiber content in these apples so that that sugar hits you harder and you get more of that spike. Number 2 is banana. Similar story. Number 3 is pineapple. Number 4, we already spoke about, that was grapes. Number 5 is strawberries. Because strawberry is actually not a berry. Fun fact. Strawberry is actually more closely related to banana than it is to berries. So apple, genetically modified, there are large corporations out there that have actually trademarked the certain biotechnology that they use to modify apple. Banana as well, stripped of fiber, it's a sugary pulp. Pineapple, they have sweetened it and they've also changed the color because pineapple used to turn, I think, a bit pink. Grapes, sugar bombs. Strawberry, sugar bombs. So these are the foods that you're most likely enjoying right now that are actually destroying your results and causing you to use metformin, to use insulin, and to not see results. These are things that are also going to leave you feeling depleted, drained, tired, and cause constant cravings. You're gonna have one slice of apple and you're gonna want another one. You're gonna have one banana, you're gonna want another one. You're gonna have, I don't know about you guys, but when I used to eat grapes, if I even just had like one grape, I knew that that whole bundle of grapes was gonna be done. That whole bundle of grapes was not gonna last because once you have one grape, once you have one strawberry, it's like this constant, I need more feeling. But now let's uncover the 5 biblical fruits. So, number 1 is figs. We know that Jesus himself was a big fan of figs, as well as pomegranates. And another food that Jesus enjoyed was dates. So figs, pomegranates, dates, these are foods that have been untouched for thousands of years. Another one, this isn't really a fruit, but it is something that I want you to get more of because it's high in healthy fats, and that is olives. Okay? So what we know is that biblical times, olives, olive oil, these were some of the healthier sources of fat. They're going to leave you feeling satiated. With a bit of salt, it's also a great way to get electrolytes. Guys, I've been trying with the lighting. I must let you know, it is raining here and it's stormy and I cannot even see like a meter out of my window because of the fog. It is ridiculous. But yeah, this is figs, pomegranates, dates, olives. These have mostly been unchanged. But what about sweet fruits? What about fruits that taste good, that taste sour, that are refreshing? You might be thinking, Ben, that's cool, but what do you do? Like, what are your actual favorite fruits that you would add to like a bowl of yogurt or that you would just snack on? And this is where I want to emphasize this. The fact that strawberry is not a berry, but the best thing to eat are berries. Okay? Berries, so I want you to think of blueberries. I want you to think of raspberries. Any sort of berry, something like kiwi, that's also really good. Berries are very, very high in fiber, and because of this, they are going to treat your blood sugar like a princess. They're going to treat your blood sugar like a queen. They're not going to mistreat her. They're not going to throw her around. They're not going to have her be up and down and up and down. So berries are the best thing that you can do for yourself. I always recommend a bowl of full fat yogurt, organic if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, full fat yogurt, as much fat as possible, as much protein as possible, as low carb as possible. So don't get yogurt that's packed with sugar or like fruit pieces. Full fat yogurt, and then you can put some blueberries in there or some raspberries in there. Don't put banana, don't put sliced apple, don't put that junk in there. Don't put that sliced strawberry in there. And what you can add is a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon is shown to increase insulin sensitivity and be a really, really great way to process sugar and to help your body adjust to spikes so you can have stable energy and not worry about what you're putting in your body. So I would do a little bit of yogurt, high fat, a few raspberries, a dash of cinnamon, and I personally would add a scoop of whey protein in there, just for the protein and also because it's just really good for building muscle. In the long run, that's a great way to also keep your blood sugar stable. If you're wanting to learn more about biblical biohacking and what it can do for your health and how it's been changing lives, it's been helping men get off medication, lose 20, 30, 40 pounds of fat, and build muscle so that they can honor God's calling and serve their community, serve their mission, serve their family. If you're tired of food and diabetes and medication holding you back from God's calling of your life, there is a free mini course in the description of this video. It's a 30-minute full guide on how you can start biblical biohacking. You can do your first biblical fast. You can learn about my story and how it's changed my life. And you're going to learn about the biblical foods that I recommend. If you want to learn more about how you can become the hero of your own story and you need guidance getting there, click on the link in the description below, opt in, and you'll get the free 30-minute guide. Thank you for making me a part of your day, and God bless your journey. God bless your story.